Their PR department is hard at work over at Fox, working their magic for the Murdochs, planting, spreading. These are hit jobs, and they are pros at hit jobbing. Make no mistake of that. The attacks are not just professional, they're fiercely personal. It's ugly. And now we know what colors Fox wears. And none of them seem to be red, white, or blue.
Radical outlets like Newsmax are what fuel the crazy conservatives like this guy.
He won. There's not. We can have the evidence. All the documentation shows he won.
Well, what's the evidence?
There's a lot.
Like what?
Well, there's a lot.
But which one thing?
There's so much. I can't. Everything I have, too much shows. There's a lot of evidence. All the documentation shows you guys that election was stolen.
But what one thing?
There was a lot of elections stolen. Okay, bottom line.
But you say one piece of evidence.
Like I said, if you have any other questions, you can ask them. I got no more. Okay? So you take that mic and go shouting where to start.
Okay.
What we're seeing is the result of years of radical right-wing indoctrination and just embedded, within our institutions. I actually was on MSNBC with Mehdi Hassan, love him, to talk about my experience being at Capitol Hill on January 6th and seeing how organized the insurrectionists are and seeing them in person, my alarm with all of that.
Let me ask you this question. You were there. You were an eyewitness. You were later accused of being Antifa, and I'm enjoying your T-shirt with the Friends joke about being Antifa. You saw what was going on. How much of what went on that day did you, from an eyewitness perspective, purely from your own experience, looked spontaneous versus looked organized?
Oh, it seemed very organized. As soon as, people went directly to the Capitol, as more people joined them, obviously, after Trump was done speaking, and there was a beeline, and it wasn't like, let's go see what we can do. They sort of laid the groundwork for this early on. I had been to every Stop the Steal rally after the election, and nothing about this surprised me.
And because, I'm a fair and balanced guy, I had to talk about how the Democrats are to blame for this because they are absolutely terrible at counter messaging.
The Democratic Party is really bad at counter messaging. Okay, by the time they counter message something, it is mainstream. Okay, and there's a lot of things that we hear about and we think, oh, that's really stupid. We don't have to counter message that because no one's stupid to believe that. No one's stupid enough to believe that. And and then this happened.
I don't get it. My theory is that they hear something that sounds crazy and they go, oh, that's nuts. No one's going to believe that. Why would we have to counter this? Ooh, deep breath, deep breath. There's so many times when I want to scream at Democrat politicians and just say, when you do things like the Willow Project or nominate, forced birther Supreme Court justices, dumb things like that, it makes it so much harder to get out the vote, to mobilize young voters. When they act like Republicans, when they do this centrist nonsense, it makes it very hard to mobilize voters, new voters. You're trying to distinguish them and say, hey, they're not as bad. And then when they do stuff that's just as bad, you're like, you're shooting yourself in the foot, in my opinion. This is so, and it's funny that a lot of Democrats have gotten better at this, but for years, it was just, they really had no particular platform per se, as other than just being, we're moderates. We're moderates. We're middle of the road, which we've seen where that gets you. So yeah, for this next election cycle, I would really love if Democrats would find a way to distinguish themselves rather than just, playing defense all the time.